When you realize you don't exist, your business blows up. Have you noticed that every time you get out of your own way, things start to work better? The strategy, the scaling, the business, the sales. Now, this is how identity shifts will help you scale past 7 and 8 figures. Because the truth is, if you're already at those figures, the thing that's going to take you to the next level is not more strategy, but the 80% of psychology that business is. And a lot of business owners are still running their business from the fuel of fear, from ego, from control, from that character, because you remove the biggest bottleneck of your business, you. And this is the real reason why you're stuck at this revenue ceiling. Because when you run your business from your ego, that is the root cause that leads to burnout, control issues, and a feeling that is never enough. No matter how much you achieve, it's never enough. It's like you're constantly climbing this majestic mountain and everybody tells you there's the biggest treasure at the top. There's full of gold and everything is there for you. And as you keep climbing, you keep sacrificing things. You keep sacrificing your time, your peace, your family, until you reach the top after so many years of hard work and your entire identity is now tied to doing. That identity becomes a prison. Because once you get to the top, your mind and your ego just tells you, what's the next thing? And you're like, where the fuck is the meaning? Where is my peace? Where is my fulfillment? I feel like a freaking robot that's just forced to keep on going. And this happens at the highest level of business owners and CEOs. And what I help my clients do is shift the fuel from which you run your business. And when you do that, everything changes. Imagine waking up and running your business from a fuel of I am whole now, of I get to use joy, service, and love as my weapons and as my limitless source of fuel to go out there and create a bigger business, more impact, and all of the stuff that we start a business for, even more money. These internal states of ego, of that old identity, directly impact your performance and your decision making. It leads to you getting stuck in the business. There's a mirror, there's a redirection of what's going on with me. Okay, this is how the mechanism works. This is how your ego becomes the bottleneck. And it all goes around this identity ceiling. So we have on the left here, obsession and neediness. When I see this all the time, this has happened to me obviously so many times. When you become obsessed with hitting the next 7 or 8 figure mark, you give it so much importance that it becomes harder to hit. The more you chase it, the more that it eludes you. Because desperation and neediness creates resistance. And the more importance you give something, the more you pedestal it. And the more you pedestal something, the farther away from your reach it seems. So what do you need to do? The opposite. Once you shift your identity using this framework, you let go of that neediness. You let go of that importance. You stop caring so much about hitting the next goal. And ironically, and you know this because you can prove this in other things of your life, when you drop the neediness, when you drop the importance and the obsession of the ego to try to fulfill its sense of self through achievement, then you hit the goal, then you hit the revenue, then you hit the clients. Everything just flows. Yeah. Then the second part of the mechanism is fear and survival. Yeah. When you wake up, when you take actions on your business, and think about this, reflect as I'm speaking of how it applies to you. How are you running your business as a leader? Because if you're still operating from fear of survival, you're going to have this really tight energy in your chest. You're going to feel always rushing, always behind, like you're still not good enough, like you still haven't made it. And ironically, this happens at the highest levels of success. All of these things of feeling behind, feeling rushed, are survival mechanisms of the ego. And that leads to over control, the belief that you always need to be working on the business, and the inability to let go, delegate, and trust your team. This leads to a direct impact in your revenue. Think about how these 4 pillars are costing you money and, more importantly, your peace of mind, because you won't get out of your own way. It's still you. Stop existing. Stop mattering so much. Stop becoming so self-conscious to try to fulfill your own needs of validation and acceptance through your business, and become the master. And as you do that, you let go of limiting beliefs around wealth, success, and money. Because there's another archetype of clients that I see that even though they're hitting $50,000 to $100,000 months or more, on a deep level, they don't feel deserving of even greater success. The $500,000 months, the $1 million months, it just feels like too much. It feels like it might lead them to isolation, to being so apart from society that they don't want to hit those goals subconsciously. And that's how you also self-sabotage. This is another mechanism I didn't add here, but another way that your ego and that identity becomes the bottleneck is, think about when you've hit bigger and bigger revenue goals and something pulls you back, right? You get sick, a client leaves, something doesn't work with the team. If you're also experiencing that, subconsciously there's a need or there's a belief that you might not be deserving of that. And so your nervous system and your identity try to pull you back to what you've normalized. So you can take a deep breath in here, and we get to the meat and the core of this video. I want to repeat it again. Business is 80% psychology. This is the inner game of business. And this is one of the most important principles. Your business will never outgrow the identity of the person leading it. That's why you need to keep shifting and letting go of old identities and stepping into your true self and leading from love. And when you realize you don't exist, and I'm talking, when I say you, I want to make it clear it's your ego, not your true self, then that's when you stop the pain. That's when you stop the suffering. Because the business does not need you to control everything. It needs you to get out of the way. It needs you to listen to the symptoms of what it needs, and for you to separate your own personal needs from the business needs. So the paradox, which is really potent, is that with less importance, with less neediness, with less obsession, you actually hit the number. For example, the main principle and identity shift that I tell my clients is, are you courageous enough to prioritize your peace and your presence before performance? Because if you do, and you prioritize peace first, then from that relaxed state of being, you have more clarity to take decisions, and you start to attract. Okay, when you are in a state of peace, you are in a state of completion and freedom now. You get out of the old survival and success feels empty identity. And so that leads you to naturally attract more opportunities. We've seen all the time people that are just a magnet for money, a magnet for success, and it feels like it comes so easy to them. It's because they are operating from a state of peace and conviction. And they understand that whatever comes up, they can take care of. So what do I want you to do now? Number one, stop running from your business, from your ego, and ask yourself, are these decisions coming from fear or from clarity? Be present with your team, be present with your clients. Drop the need of needing to be validated and seek to understand, and show up to sales calls or to creating content from a place of presence, from a place of stillness, from a place of trust. I already told you this one, prioritize your peace over performance and see how everything in the business starts working. It's like a river. The business, the wealth, and the money, and all the great abundance is a river that is always trying to flow to you. And the only time that it doesn't flow to us is when we, as the ego, become a rock or become trash or become, in a way, these branches of trees that block the natural flow of the river downstream. So in my opinion, business then becomes a game of alignment instead of a game of chasing revenue in clients. And whenever there are symptoms that your business is not working, or there's a lot of fires and clients are leaving, or you're losing some deals, that is a sign that there's a misalignment in you. And that misalignment is based on a belief in fear and separation and the ego. And when you take responsibility and you start shifting into alignment of your true self, then that's when you can actually see the shifts in your business. So don't go crazy trying to fix this with more strategies, business coaches, therapy, and all of these things. Shift you and everything shifts. This is what I do with my clients. It's called the True Self Method. If you're feeling these symptoms and you're stuck in your business and you want me to help you identify and remove the block that could be costing you millions in your business, check out the link in the description. Now, back to the video, I want you to also examine your beliefs around money and abundance. Do you actually believe that you deserve more? These don't take this lighthearted. I've literally, these principles I'm giving you today have produced millions of dollars for my clients in their business and incredible levels of peace and purpose for their personal life. So apply it, apply this knowledge, because if not, it's not going to mean anything to you. Also, let go of the need to always be on, to always be working on the business. Start trusting. Instead of over strategizing, do less and be more, and release the obsession with the milestone, detach from the outcome and focus on the process. Find meaning in service, in leading other people. The final bomb: business becomes simple when you get out of your own way. Scaling is simple when you stop making it about you, truly. And when you realize you don't exist, your business explodes. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in.